Amid my last video, I assume that there are a lot of people that are past the shock and awe stage. And they're coming to the conclusions that people have barely, very rarely met a pastor like me. Let me tell you something. As a little boy growing up, I had to get into a few encounters. And I was, kind of like, I was one of those late bloomers, little guy. And then it wasn't until I was like 17, 18 years old before I started really blooming. Of course, I graduated high school at 17. So, man, I missed a big wonder far as being, a big guy at that time. But that has nothing to do with anything. I mean, I've always been one to, I guess you would say, protect what I would consider the weak or the disadvantaged, or I just didn't like someone taking advantage of someone. I just didn't like someone abusing someone. And so I would just do something about it. It was just something that's down inside of me. That I guess that fall in the military is definitely follow as a pastor. I just do not like people being oppressed. I don't. And if it's in my power to do something about it, I usually do. The reason why many of you cannot recognize what a pastor is today is because so many men have been emasculated because women have eviscerated them. And the problem with men today, and you have to hear me because I understand when I say certain things that you hear me out of the training that you have already received. And of course, anything you received is because you made an agreement with it. You believed it, and so therefore it has that kind of power and that kind of influence. But I like to say that first of all, I am a very merciful man. I see a lot of things that go on, but I also know manipulation. I know coercion. I know deceit, and I know lies. And I also know the power of an accusation. I know the power of slanderous speech. I know the power of a lie and what it can do to someone who does not exercise self-autonomy. I know what skewing the facts can do to people and mind. And most men today, they simply believe that they're thinking right just because somebody tells them their side of the story. And it's only after a few experiences that you heard somebody paint a picture for you and they told you this is the way things are. And then you actually get the opportunity to hear what someone else says. You put all the facts together. It's only a matter of time before you figure out that, man, I need to start trying to use this, and not from my training either. I need to start using this. I need to start figuring out what in the world is going on today. And so today, I'm not against women. People think that I am. It's just that we are in a society. And I know I started this all talking about defending the weak. I see what's happened to men. But we are in a society that is matriarchal, and it is infeminized to the max, to the zenith. And if men don't start waking up and learning how to navigate in this society right here, it's over for you. Because let's just tell the truth. Let's just tell the truth. You have a lot of women out there pointing fingers at men. Blah, 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 blah. And they're quick to rock you on your heels and point fingers at you, telling you what you're not doing and what you should be doing. But when are you men are going to man up? When are you going to ask the women, when are you going to start doing what you should be doing? It brings no advantage for a man, or let's say it brings no advantage for a woman to tear a man down. It's actually in her best interest to build him up. Because when you tear him down, you're immobilizing. And first of all, he has to be weak, in a weak state anyway, to be tore down. Really. He has to be in a very weak state. And there are very few men today. They don't understand the manipulation and the coercion that is going on. They just don't get it. Because this world, this society we live in, has made men weak. And that's why it's hard for men of today. Now, men who are honor, men who are men, they understood my last video very, very well why I believe it's in the right of that man to not only beat the living hell out of that guy. He's fortunate he even got that. But what's disturbing to me is the system that is entrenched and the system that is in place today. That is what's disturbing to me. Because you can do something like this and it shouldn't even be a question. That is called justice. You see, vengeance belongs to God, but justice belongs to us. And most people don't get it. They don't comprehend. And so are we to believe that everything that we do, it has to be scrutinized by the government, it has to be scrutinized by the courts, and we are to turn around and second guess ourselves when we know by nature we have done right, and now we're going to be crucified by the very system? Yeah, I realize that both of them got reinstated into the military, but I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't even want to go into it. To hell with them. To hell with the military. With that kind of attitude, because it's only just around the corner that something else is going to happen. And they're going to be questioned again for their moral ethics, because they have a moral duty to free the oppressed. And when you have men doing that in that country, you tell me this, and this is what I'm getting to. You tell me how in America you have the majority of the military are feminist, emasculated men, that they're going to actually do anything like that Green Beret did. They can't do it. You know why? Because they are afraid of laws. They're afraid of what the system would say. And they will sit there and watch and continue to keep watching. And knowing about it, that young boy getting raped by old men, and they wouldn't do nothing about it because they have no pride, self-pride, they have no dignity, they have no self-worth. I don't even know if I'm making sense to many people like that, but men just can't stand by and deal with stuff like that. Just like a real man is not going to stand by and let a woman rule, dominate over him in any way, shape, fashion, or form. He should be hip to her manipulation games. And I keep telling you, it's not that I believe me. I love women. I really truly do. I don't love the games they play, and I see right through them, and I don't give them no quarter, none whatsoever at all, none. Where you get your attitude from, Pastor? Well, same place that you say you get. Well, I don't know, many of you don't, but I actually get mine from the Bible. Well, so what's going on today? You watch the majority of pastors, they're effeminate. We're now watching these gay pastors parade themselves up there and taking these pictures together. This is my husband, and this is my husband. Listen. Men, there's only going to be a few of us left in this world with the way that the laws are going in this world, how society is making sure that they are instrumental in eviscerating a man. I promise you that. I see it. And that's why I get a bad rap. I get feminist women who will go out and lie on PastorDowell. And then they get these emasculated men, because that's what women do. But these emasculated men, see, that's something I would love to just put my hands around the throats of a lot of these liars. But they love hiding behind keyboards, social media, and computers and stuff. Because I can't stand a liar. I can't stand a liar. Any way, shape, fashion, or form. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't tolerate one. I just can't do it. And I really can't tolerate a man being manipulated and used by a woman, and he can't stand on his own 2 feet, sitting back crying, worried half to death, letting these women cause your health to fail. And if it continues to go on for another 10 years, a man is going to be scarce. You're going to see a bunch of figures walking around in male bodies, but they will not be men. They will not be men. So I applaud. I know I'm jumping back and forth, but I applaud that sergeant that beat the hell out of that guy. I really, truly do. I do. I applaud it. So going back to what I said earlier, if you don't wake up to what's going on in society, it's not in your best interest to get married after that system, because the courts are set up to castrate you, both naturally and physically. It really truly is. The women, or the feminist movement of today, and that's the spirit that is on a lot of women today, is the feminist movement. I asked the women today, okay, who can find a virtuous woman? Her price is far above rubies. And then ask her, is that you? Is that you? Look, behold, a woman of a meek and quiet spirit, which in the sight of the Lord is of great price. And then turn around and ask that woman that you're with or you're considered, is that you? Because you have a woman that does a lot of this, it's already telling you about what her character and nature is. You got a woman that will stand up to you, go toe-to-toe, tap the house, tear you up and stuff. Man, you already know that you should distance yourself as far as you can, because life is too short for that kind of pain. You got a woman that's going to tell you, I ain't going to do this, I ain't going to do that. Oh, see, we have gotten the social order of things wrong. It's wrong in society. It's wrong in the churches. It's wrong, period, in the world. Because a just man will always do right. I mean, I've always been a hard-working man. I've taken care of my responsibilities. I've been married to my wife for over 33 years. My mother and father's been married 57 years. My mom and dad. So I know what it means to be married. I counsel married people continually. But I don't do it from what's in their mind. I do it from what's in the book. And that's the difference. And so when I see manipulation, coercion, domination, deceit, treachery, witchcraft, bewitching, I can recognize I've been doing this half of my life. I know it when I see it. And you ain't getting past me. Nobody's getting past me. So men have got to fight for manhood today. I don't even know if I'm making sense. I don't even know if many of you can track which way I'm going. Maybe some of you can. I was born a little boy, and now I've become a man. And I am not going to stop being a man in order to suit this effeminate society or world. I ain't going to do it. So men, my advice to you, everything that a woman expects out of you, you quickly grab yourself up by your pants if you still wearing them. As if you ain't got panties on up underneath those pants. And you ask her, is she meeting the conditions of what you believe to be a woman is and what that book says? And then you're going to know the truth. I had a person the other day send me a video by a woman pastor. I didn't even look at it. There's no such animal. There's no such thing as a woman pastor. I don't care what that effeminate TD Snake say. I don't care what Paula White says. Or any of these false liars. I don't care what none of them say. None of them are warriors. You know, when you look at the ancient Hebrew people, these men were men. They were warriors. Who today would be in Israel's army? I mean, who today fits this bill as a leader? Let me see. Let's go. Abraham, warrior. Moses, warrior. David, warrior. Joshua and Caleb, warriors. Warriors, just flat out warriors. Peter, warrior. Paul, warrior. Now, let's use this. Here's the other side. Okay, let's see if they fit this bill. T.D. Jakes, Benny Hinn, Paul Crouch, Kenneth Copeland, Rod Parsley. Do these guys fit to you as warrior? Okay, let's go on the other side. All right? And most of you know, and some of you don't know. PastorDowell. Pastor Joe Fox. And I'm only using that here on the internet that we're familiar with, because the truth is I'm not familiar with many other pastors as is. I just gave you 3 different categories. 3 different categories. And Pastor Fox and I, we don't go around perpetuating evil on people. We teach people. We be an example to people. But we don't go around perpetuating evil on people. We teach them. We train them. We give them the word. We live right before them. We just don't do the things that these so-called men in this generation do. But I promise you one thing. If Moses, Abraham, Joshua, Caleb, and David was here today, they would pick myself and Pastor Fox to be in Israel's army over and above T.D. Jakes and Benny Hinn, Paul Crouch, and Rod Parsley. I guarantee it. What said you? Because, see, you hold these people up and you champion these people. Joel Osteen. You really, truly think these men could be men in Israel's army today? Hell no. Hell no, they couldn't. I'm actually trying to think of another internet pastor. Again, I just don't know. I don't watch them. I'm too busy. I'm a working man. But I just thought I'd throw 2 out there that you know. And there's just a different, the world is doing everything it can to strip a leaders not only of authority, but of manhood. Society, if it's going to flourish, should be patriarchal. And we're watching the decline of the United States of America because of the history that has already been set before us. We are quickly at breakneck speed. We're at Mach 5 right now as far as the society in the decline. We are quickly following in the steps of ancient Rome. And most of you don't know that. You don't know that because you don't know history. And history always repeats itself. And if you don't know what history says, how can you sit and argue against me? You're going to argue against me and have all this visceral against me because of what's in your mind? What is in your mind? What is in your mind? That's a question, isn't it? So, no, ain't no one going to emasculate me. No way, shape, fashion, form. I'm not going to do it. I ain't going to fall for it. And back over there, if I was in that same situation, I would have commenced I would have butt stroked him, could have commenced to whooping his mocking ass. That's exactly what I'd have done. But you know what Joel Osteen says? Well, y'all, we're gonna pray for him while your son getting raped. That's what they would say. I'm gonna pray for him just like Nehemiah did. I'm gonna lay hands all up on you, along with some elbows and feet as well as knees. I guess that's the difference today. Well, Pastor Dow, you gotta have grace and mercy. Hold, first of all, no more. Don't make me God. I'm a man. So don't expect what you expect out of God out of me as a man. I'm following in the vein to be like God. And remember, God is also a what? Man of war. I wonder how we missed all that. How we miss all that today. We sit up here and receive all these theologies today that bring about confusion in the minds of the people to make people think that God is at war against himself. Law versus grace. Spirit versus flesh. Man, you people stop the nonsense, man. Stop the mental gymnastics and stop the gaming and the toying around. Man, these people have gamed you. The system has gamed you. The news media has gamed you. And these churches have gamed you. And that's the truth. And that's the true straight way. And I ain't apologizing for being a man for nobody.